My name is Elliot Harper, and 3 years ago, I stepped off a Greyhound bus in New York City with a journalism degree from a nowhere college in Ohio, a backpack stuffed with resumes, and a fire in my gut that said I was destined for more than covering high school football scores. The city hit me like a freight train. Honking taxis, steam rising from manhole covers, the endless grind of heels on concrete. I crashed on a cousin's couch in Brooklyn, pounding pavement until my soles were thin. And then, like a plot twist in one of those gritty indie films, I landed an interview at Empire Dreams Realty. It was one of those midtown firms that screamed old money and new deals. Glass walls overlooking Central Park, interns fetching artisanal coffee, and at the helm, Michael Voss. The name alone turned heads in real estate circles. He'd flipped half of Chelsea into luxury lofts before 40, built an empire on gut instincts and handshakes that sealed fates. When I walked into his office that first day, all polished oak and cityscape views, he was leaning back in his leather chair, sleeves rolled up, tie loosened like he'd just wrestled a bear and won. His eyes, storm gray, piercing, locked on mine, and I swear the room tilted. "Elliot Harper," he said, glancing at my resume without really reading it. "Ohio boy, huh? What makes you think you can hack it in the snake pit?" I swallowed hard, channeling every motivational podcast I'd binged on that bus ride. "Because I've got the hunger, Mr. Voss, and I learn fast." He chuckled, low and rumbling, like thunder rolling in from the Hudson. "Call me Michael, and hunger's good, kid, but it's loyalty that keeps you alive here." He stood, extending a hand that swallowed mine, warm, firm, the kind of grip that lingered a beat too long. In that moment, something sparked, unbidden and electric. I wrote it off as nerves, but deep down I knew. I'd always known I was gay, but I'd kept it locked in the closet since high school bullies made coming out feel like signing my own obituary. Michael? He was the type who could make you question everything. Tall, broad-shouldered, with that silver-flecked hair and a jawline carved from marble. Married once, divorced quietly, no kids. The office whispered he was straight as an arrow, but whispers lie. I got the job as his junior analyst, buried in market reports and property valuations, but it was the late nights that hooked me. We'd huddle in his office after hours, takeout containers piling up, debating zoning laws over bourbon he'd pour from a crystal decanter. "You're sharp, Elliot," he'd say, clapping my shoulder, his touch igniting sparks I had to ignore. "But real estate's a blood sport. You gotta be willing to get dirty." I nodded, pretending the heat in my cheeks was from the liquor. Dirty. The word echoed, teasing the edges of fantasies I'd never voice. By year 2, I was indispensable, spotting undervalued brownstones in Harlem before they hit the listings, charming clients with that Midwestern earnestness. Whispers turned to envy. Colleagues called me Voss's golden boy. And Michael? He started inviting me to his Hamptons weekends, networking retreats with power players. I'd watch him across bonfires, sleeves rolled up, laughing with senators and moguls, and wonder what it would be like to be the one making him smile like that. But ambition has a way of sharpening the blade. Last summer, the firm landed the biggest deal in its history, redeveloping a derelict warehouse district in Brooklyn into eco-luxury condos. Billions on the line, egos clashing like tectonic plates. Michael was spearheading it, his intensity cranked to 11. Snapping at assistants, chain smoking on the balcony despite the no-smoking signs. I was his right hand, pulling all-nighters, my apartment a ghost town. That's when the rumors started slithering through the halls. The senior VP slot was opening, the one with the 7-figure bonus and corner office. Everyone knew it was mine for the taking if I played my cards right. Right turned out to be a loaded word. It started innocently enough, or so I told myself. A client dinner at Per Se, the kind where caviar flows like water and deals are inked on napkins. Michael was in rare form, charming the pants off a hedge fund whale, his foot brushing mine under the table. Accident? Maybe. But when he leaned in later, breath warm against my ear in the elevator, whispering, "You closed that tonight, Elliot. We're unstoppable." My pulse thundered. I mumbled thanks, stepped out onto my floor, and spent the night staring at the ceiling, wrestling with the truth I'd dodged for years. I was in love with him, hopelessly, stupidly, professionally suicidal. The next week, the axe fell. We were in his office, storm raging outside like it sensed the shift. He'd called me in after hours, the kind of summons that meant big news. I arrived to find him pacing, scotch in hand, tie discarded like a shed skin. "Elliot," he said, voice gravel rough. "The Brooklyn deal, it's teetering. The zoning board's got cold feet, and Harlan, that smug bastard from acquisitions, thinks he can swoop in and save the day. If he does, the VP nod goes to him." My stomach dropped. Harlan was a shark, all ivy polish and backroom deals, the type who'd step over his own mother for a parking spot. "What do we do?" I asked, sinking into the chair opposite him. Michael stopped, fixed me with those eyes that could unravel a man. "We fight dirty. But it's not just the deal. It's you. I need you all in, Elliot. Prove you're not just loyal, you're family." He crossed to the window, back to me, rain blurring the skyline. "There's a gala tomorrow. Investors, politicians, the works. Harlan's cornered the mayor. You go with me, be my shadow, charm the room, and there's something else." He turned, expression unreadable, and that's when he said it, the line that blurred everything. "If you want that promotion, you're going to have to prove you're one of us. Not just another pretty face crunching numbers." The words landed like a gut punch. Pretty face? Was that all I was? Or was it code? A veiled invitation to cross the line we'd towed for years? My mind raced, betrayal to my principles, or the shot at everything I'd bled for. I thought of my mom back in Ohio, scraping by on diner shifts, wiring me rent money she couldn't spare. I thought of the closet I'd built, brick by brick, to survive this cutthroat world. And Michael, God, Michael, standing there vulnerable in a way I'd never seen, like he was handing me not just a key, but his soul. What do you mean?" My voice cracked, barely above the storm's roar. He stepped closer, close enough I could smell his cologne, sandalwood and smoke. "You know what I mean. This industry's a brotherhood, Elliot. Secrets bind us. Loyalties that go beyond the 9 to 5. His hand hovered near my arm, not touching, but the air crackled. "I've seen how you look at me, and maybe I've been looking back." Time fractured. The rain blurred into tears I wouldn't let fall. This was it, the something I'd have to do. Not a handshake, not a deal, but a leap into the abyss. For the promotion. For him. For the man I'd become if I said yes. I nodded, throat tight. "Tell me what to do." The gala was a glittering viper's nest at the plaza. Crystal chandeliers dripping light, gowns whispering scandals, men in tuxes brokering empires over champagne flutes. I stuck to Michael like glue, his arm brushing mine as we worked the room. Harlan shot us glares from across the ballroom, his smile a rictus. But Michael's presence was a force, commanding nods from titans, his laugh cutting through the din. By midnight, we'd isolated the mayor in a corner booth, Michael's charisma weaving spells while I fed him stats on green incentives like candy. It felt electric, us against them. But as the night wore on, the something loomed. In a quiet alcove, away from prying eyes, Michael pulled me aside. "Now," he murmured, his hand on my lower back, sending shocks up my spine. "Harlan's watching. Make it look real. Make what look real." Before I could ask, he leaned in, lips brushing my ear in a whisper that was anything but business. "Trust me, Elliot. This is how we win." And then, in a move that rewrote my world, he kissed me. Not a peck, but a claim, slow and searing, tasting of bourbon and desperation. The room spun. Applause from a distant toast drowned the roar in my ears. I kissed back, heart hammering, because in that stolen breath, I tasted truth. Not just ambition, not just survival. Love, raw and reckless, blooming in the shadows of power. We pulled apart, breathless, his eyes searching mine. "For the team," he said, but his voice trembled. "Liar. Beautiful, broken liar." The next morning, the deal locked. Zoning approved. Harlan sidelined. And the promotion? It was mine on paper, at least. But as I packed my old desk, Michael's note slipped from my drawer. "Corner office awaits. Dinner tonight?" I stared at it, fingers shaking. We'd crossed the line, but what lay beyond? Betrayal? Bliss? Or the storm that would tear us apart? Little did I know, the real tempest was just breaking. The corner office came with perks that felt like illusions. floor-to-ceiling windows framing the Empire State Building like a postcard, a desk big enough to host a séance, and a door that closed on the office chatter. But mostly it came with Michael. Our dinners evolved from tentative post-work drinks into something dangerously routine. Quiet bistros in the village, where candlelight danced on his face, and conversations veered from market fluctuations to the ghosts we carried. My ex. He'd confess one night over oysters, swirling his wine. She said I was married to the job. Turns out she was right. But you get it, Elliot. You see me. I did. God, I saw him. The cracks beneath the armor. The way his laugh hid loneliness. The subtle flinch when his phone buzzed with bored updates. In those stolen hours, the city faded. It was just us, two men untangling years of pretense. I'd tell him about Ohio winters, my first crush on a closeted farm boy who vanished after graduation, the fear that had propelled me here. New York's freedom, I'd say, and he'd nod, fingers tracing mine under the table. You're brave, he'd reply, voice soft. Coming out here, building this. I envy that. Brave? I wasn't out, not fully. The office knew I was gay. I dropped hints over Pride beers, but Michael was my secret. Our touches hidden in elevators. Our texts coded in emojis. It was thrilling, this clandestine dance, but it gnawed at me. Was I his equal now, VP to his CEO, or still the golden boy proving loyalty? The kiss at the gala lingered like a brand. Had it been strategy or spark? Weeks blurred into a rhythm. Mornings in meetings where his gaze lingered too long. Afternoons sealing deals with his hand steadying mine on a pen. Harlan seethed in the shadows, his barbs sharper now that I'd eclipsed him. Voss's pet project. He'd sneer in the break room, loud enough for echoes. I ignored it, focused on the Brooklyn build breaking ground, cranes piercing the sky like Michael's ambitions. But cracks formed. One crisp October evening, after a brutal negotiation with union reps, we retreated to his penthouse. The first time I'd seen it sober, not through Scotch haze. Rain lashed the windows again, a motif in our story, as he poured us drinks. To us, he toasted, clinking glasses. The word hung, heavy with promise. We talked for hours about his Iowa roots, a father who died in a mill accident, pushing him to conquer cities. I built this for him, Michael said, staring into the storm, to prove I wasn't weak. His vulnerability cracked me open. I reached for his hand, and this time he didn't pull away. We sat there, palms pressed, the air thick with unspoken want. No gala ruse, no audience. Just truth. I think I'm falling for you, I whispered, heart in my throat. The admission terrified me, professional suicide, emotional roulette. He searched my face, then cupped my cheek, thumb brushing my jaw. Elliot, I shouldn't. The firm, the optics. But damn it, you make me want to burn it all. His kiss was slower this time, tender, a confession in motion. We didn't cross into forbidden territory. It was enough to hold him, feel his heartbeat sync with mine. The world reduced to rain and warmth. That night marked the shift, from flirtation to fragile something more. We stole moments. A weekend in the Catskills, hiking trails where leaves crunched underfoot like breaking barriers, sharing stories by firelight. He opened up about his divorce. Not infidelity, but exhaustion, the realization he loved his solitude more than her chaos. I thought that was it, he admitted, arm around me as stars wheeled overhead. Until you. And I bloomed under his gaze. The boy from Ohio vanishing into a man who dared dream of forever. But New York doesn't do forever without a fight. Harlan struck first, subtle as a stiletto. Anonymous emails started circulating. Grainy photos from the gala, our embrace twisted into innuendo. Voss's favoritism knows no bounds. They read, "See seat to the board." Michael dismissed them in meetings, his jaw set like granite. Sour grapes, he'd growl. But I saw the toll, sleepless eyes, Scotch bottles emptying faster. Then came the betrayal I never saw coming. It was mid-November. The city dusted in early snow when Michael called an emergency huddle. The Brooklyn project was hemorrhaging. Environmentalists protesting the condo's carbon footprint. Lawsuits piling like drifts. We need a Hail Mary, he said, pacing the conference room, snowflakes melting on the glass. A partnership. I've got a lead old college buddy, now a green tech VC. But it's risky. Offshore money, whispers of laundering. My gut twisted. Michael, that's a line we can't. We have to. He cut in, eyes pleading. For the firm. For us. Us again, weaponized. He pulled me into his office after. Door locked. His forehead against mine. Trust me, Elliot. This is how we protect what we've built. I wanted to believe him. God, I did. But doubt festered. A whisper in the night. Was our love the glue? Or the leverage? I dug quietly. Late nights scouring filings. Calling contacts from my reporter days. What I found chilled me. The VC wasn't clean. Ties to shell companies. Red flags waving like surrender flags. Michael knew. He'd signed off on prelims months ago before us, but now felt like a noose tightening. Confrontation came on a Friday, firm holiday party raging below. Eggnog and carols masking the rot. I cornered him on the balcony, wind whipping our coats. Michael, the deal, it's dirty. Tell me you didn't know. His face crumpled. Guilt etching lines I'd never noticed. I did, but it's contained. Elliot. A white lie for the greater good. The firm's jobs, the community center we're funding. Stop. My voice broke, snow stinging my eyes. This isn't you. Or us. You're selling your soul and dragging me with you. He reached for me, desperate. I did it for us. To secure the future, the promotion was just the start. I want out someday with you. A cabin upstate. No more snakes. The vision tempted, but lies poison. And Harlan? Those emails? Was that for us too? Silence. Then the gut wrench. I leaked a hint. To flush him out. He was gunning for me, Elliot. I had to. Betrayal bloomed. Hot and vicious. Not just the deal. The man I'd loved was architect of his own shadows. Pulling strings that ensnared us both. You're no better than him. I choked, stepping back. I thought you saw me. But I'm just another pawn. Elliot, wait. His plea chased me into the elevator. Doors sealing like a tomb. I fled into the night, snow swallowing my sobs. The city indifferent as ever. Days blurred into avoidance, emails curt. Meetings mediated by assistants. The office buzzed with speculation. Harlan's smirk wider, the board circling. Michael tried reaching out. Flowers to my desk, voicemails raw with regret. But I ghosted him, nursing wounds in my tiny walk-up, vinyl spinning blues to drown the ache. Then the climax crashed like a wave. Late December, a whistleblower, anonymous, but I knew Harlan's scent, dropped the bomb. Docs proving Michael's offshore ties, splashed across the Post's front page. Empire dreams dirty empire. CEO's shadow deals exposed. Chaos erupted. Clients fleeing, stock plummeting. Reporters swarming the lobby like wolves. Michael vanished into damage control, but I couldn't stay silent. Loyalty warred with integrity. Love with the boy who'd once chased truth for a living. I leaked the gala photos, context intact, our kiss a footnote to the favoritism claims. Not to destroy him, but to force light into the dark. The board summoned us both, a tribunal in pinstripes. Michael faced them stone-faced, denying nothing. I take full responsibility, he said, voice steady. The deals were aggressive but legal. Fire me if you must. They didn't at first. Probation, audits, a slap on the wrist. But Harlan pounced, rallying votes for a coup. In the melee, Michael cornered me in the stairwell, eyes hollow. You did this? The photos? I nodded, tears hot. I had to. For the truth. For us to be real, not this. Poison. He deflated, hand trembling on the rail. I never meant to hurt you. The promotion, the kiss, it started as strategy, but you became everything. I love you, Elliot. That's the only truth. The words I'd craved, too late. Love isn't enough if it's built on lies. As he walked away, shoulders slumped, I realized the real betrayal was mine. To myself, for believing power could cradle a heart. The fallout was biblical. Empire dreams teetering on the brink. Headlines devouring us like chum. Michael stepped down as CEO, amicably. The press release lied, taking a golden parachute to some consulting gig in the shadows. Harlan slithered into the throne, his first act a purge. redundancies that gutted the soul of the place. My corner office? It became a storage closet overnight, my things boxed like yesterday's news. I could have fought, lawyered up, spun the narrative, but the fight drained out of me. Instead, I tendered resignation on New Year's Eve, the city exploding in fireworks that felt like mockery. Mom called from Ohio, voice thick with worry. "Come home, baby. You've done enough proving yourself." Home. The word tasted like defeat, but also mercy. I packed my life into 2 suitcases. Michael's note crumpled at the bottom, a relic I couldn't burn. The last time I saw him was in the lobby, rain sheeting the revolving doors like our first storm. He was there, coat collar up, eyes red-rimmed. "Elliot," he said, blocking my path. "Don't go like this." I paused, heart a bruise. "How else? You taught me loyalty's a blood sport. I just chose mine." He swallowed hard, pulling an envelope from his pocket. Thick. Official. "This is yours. The full VP bonus, wired tomorrow. No strings. And I'm sorry. For the games, the secrets. I was scared. Of losing control, of feeling this much." The admission hung, raw as the winter wind. I wanted to hate him, to walk into the night and never look back. But humanism whispers that we're all flawed architects, building empires on sand. "I loved you too," I said, voice steady for the first time. "But love demands light. You showed me that." He nodded, tears mingling with rain. "Go build something real, Elliot. You deserve it." The Greyhound back to Ohio was quieter than the one inbound. No podcasts, just the hum of tires on interstate, snow-dusted fields blurring past. I crashed at Mom's, the trailer smelling of apple pie and regret, and started small. Freelancing articles for local rags, truth-telling without the glamour. Cleveland's not New York. No skyscrapers, no stolen kisses, but it had space to breathe. Months passed in therapy sessions and long walks, unpacking the wreckage. Betrayal's sting faded to scar. Ambition rekindled not for corner offices, but corners of truth. I wrote, first a blog, then pitches to bigger outlets, exposing small-town corruptions, the human cost of unchecked power. Michael's story became mine, anonymized in essays that won nods from editors in Chicago. One spring afternoon, a package arrived, no return address, but I knew. Inside, a worn copy of The Great Gatsby, dog-eared at the green light passage, and a note. "You were my green light, Elliot. Keep chasing." I smiled through tears, the ache softening to gratitude. He'd landed in Seattle, starting a nonprofit, affordable housing for queer youth, turning empires into empathy. Whispers said he was out, quietly, mentoring kids who'd fled closets like mine. We never rekindled. Some fires burned too hot to relight. But in the humanistic quiet of Midwest evenings, watching fireflies dance like city lights, I found peace. The promotion I chased? It was never the office. It was this seeing a man, flawed and fierce, and choosing grace over grudge. Loving not despite the betrayal, but through it, emerging whole. New York fades in memory, but the lesson lingers. In America's grand, gritty theater, we all play parts: boss, lover, survivor. The real win, stepping off stage authentic, heart open to the next act. And mine is just beginning.